This tutorial will explain how and why to create new calendars. So the Google Calendar app is capable of having many different calendars on it. The reason why you would want to do that, to me, is kind of obvious. You might have one calendar for your own personal, professional events. That might be the very first calendar that Google Calendar comes with. It's your name. You might want to have a calendar for one of your classes, a ninth grade social studies class. You might have a separate calendar for just co-workers events. You might have a third calendar for an 11th grade English class, and so on and so forth. And the different calendars are listed on the left-hand side right here, and you can display them by simply clicking the box right there. Now, Sample Sandbox is displayed. Now, Sample 2 is displayed. And unclicking it, Sample 2 is no longer displayed, and so on and so forth. Now, you can also change whether or not calendars are even listed on this side by, under My Calendars, clicking the drop-down, go into Settings. Okay, you can also reach this from the General Settings tab on the gear right up here, Settings, and this was Calendars. That's where we just were. And then showing them from the list or not showing them from the list. So right now, Google Classroom, if we unchecked this, that means it wouldn't even appear in the list, but we want it to appear in the list. Right now, Tasks and Ed Technology Specialist, those two calendars are checked, but they're gray because they're not visible. I'll show you what I mean by that right now. Ed Technology Specialist and Tasks are both listed, but they're not visible because we unchecked them. If I check it, now it's there, and my event shows up. So to create a new calendar, you go to My Calendars, you go to Create New Calendar. It's that simple. We're going to name this calendar Tutorial. Okay. You can put a description if you'd like, blah, blah, blah. You can put a location for the calendar. I will help people find events if it's public. We're not going to do that right now. The time zone, okay, and then sharing the calendar. We're going to go over this in a different lesson. So for now, we're going to leave it. We're not going to share it. That's a different tutorial. And you can also share with individual people down here. So create calendar, okay? And now that we've created this calendar called tutorial, it's still loading. Takes a second, okay. Here it is, tutorial. We're going to add an event to tutorial. Let's call this tutorial event 1. We're going to make it an all-day event. We're going to create it. And there it is. And we'll do another one, tutorial event 2. And we're going to edit these settings. And we're going to not make it all day. And we'll leave it like that. Okay? Oops. So what I did there was I created the event and I put it for the Ed Technology Specialists calendar. I want it for the tutorial calendar. And same thing with this one. Edit event. We want it under tutorial calendar. So that's how you can edit a calendar if you made a mistake like I just did. It's another good learning point. Now that we have the calendar showing, if you notice now, if I click this box to the left-hand side, now it's not showing. If I click it again, it is showing. So let's go over some of the options for this calendar. If you hover over the calendar on the left-hand side and you click this drop-down, you can display only this calendar, which is what we're doing right now anyway. You can hide the calendar from the list. We can go over further calendar settings, which we're going to do next. You can create an event on the calendar that way. You can share it. We'll go over that in a different tutorial. And edit notifications. We'll do that in a different tutorial. So let's go to calendar settings. Okay, these are very important settings for each individual calendar. We have the calendar name and the description and the location. Auto accept invitations. Calendars for resources can automatically accept invitations from people. We have that checked as we're going to add all invitations to the calendar. You can also change it to add invitations that don't conflict or do not show invitations. So we're going to leave it like that. Now, this is an important one. Embed this calendar. If you copy this HTML code, if you copy that HTML code and paste it to any website, you can embed your Google Calendar onto a website. It's very, very useful if you want to display it onto a website. However, if you're using a Google site, it's even easier to embed the calendar. We'll do that in a different lesson, or you can watch my Google Sites tutorials for that. It's so easy. You don't even have to mess with HTML code. But here's the HTML code if you want to do that. In addition, here is the web address for the calendar. Okay, if you have it public, you can just give someone this web address and they can access your calendar in any browser. Or if you have it in iCal, you can get the calendar, the address here in iCal format. So HTML would be the regular web address for the calendar if you want to share the calendar with somebody. Okay, this will only work if your calendar is public. This is a private URL for your private address, and that means anyone would be able to see anything if you give them that address. You can export the calendar with this button and delete the entire calendar with this button. Now, these are the general calendar details for each particular calendar that you create. Okay, so we're going to press save. And now we're back to our main calendar page, and there we have it. In the next tutorial, we are going to go over notifications and sharing.